Hey, how's everybody doing this evening? Just coming back at you with another episode of Taking Care of Fitness, the podcast, where basically um, each and every episode I try and kind of cover some new type of topic, whether it be what's going on in the exercise field, what's going on in with new and improved methods of anti-aging, healing, what have you. But this episode is a little bit personal because I had just had a little bit of a back and forth with a doctor on Instagram once again, and one of the doctors I had mentioned in the last episode, and I was really disappointed. So basically, this without naming names, I don't want to be childish and name names, but this doctor was showing a video on Instagram about this other gentleman who was kind of attacking people, I guess, if you would say, who take wegovy, which is you know uh, a generic form of Ozempic, and basically saying, stop, get off that. You don't need that. Take care of yourself the right way, diet, exercise, all that stuff. So after the video, the doctor gave his assessment of his own opinion, how basically demonizing the gentleman who had made the video, or going against what he had said and saying that these drugs are um, logical. And nowhere in the video did he ever mention the possible side effects of the many of those drugs that we already know exist or can exist, whether it's nausea, stomach paralysis, problems with your esophagus, constipation, what have you. And I had commented to him, it would have been really nice for you as a doctor to name these things, because after all, it is really important that people are aware of the many side effects that are out there if they're going to take these drugs. Okay, I would think that somebody in the medical field would always make those side effects relevant for those who don't know, and those who do know, just for that's what you do. So whatever, he had commented back and kind of said I had missed the point of the video and whatnot, and I just kind of told him, I was like, look, I don't know who you are, man. I don't know you from a hole in the wall, but I will tell you this: I train people who are on Wegovy or Ozempic or the other names, I can't remember, and I always let people do it. Let people do what they want to do. I point out the good, I point out the bad, and then we go on from there. I'm not in a place to play Jiminy Cricket. That's not my job. My job is to get you from A to B, and for you to feel better about yourself. That's all I can do. I can't do anything other than that. I told the gentleman, I'm not a doctor. You are. It's your job to tell people the negative and the positive. You have to do that and let people make the decision for themselves. Let them go over with their doctor. Let them match their blood work, or go over their blood work to see if everything's in line. And once again, you come to a conclusion that it's very people in this industry disappoint you. People in life disappoint you, but people in this industry disappoint you a lot because um, this industry is so lucrative to lie, to do shock pieces, to not have objective opinions, to not have an objective um, podcast or an objective, channel. I think I had said, it would have been nice if you and this gentleman would have gotten together and debate, but for whatever reason, that doesn't happen. So, like I was saying, it disappoints you when people in the medical field, and I'm sure he's a very good doctor, aren't giving you the negatives about the drug. That's what I'm concerned about. And I think the other thing that concerns me a lot is that, all these things could be avoided. I think, you think to yourself, especially in the medical field, I don't want to say tomorrow or next week, but eventually we could make a lot of strides in a positive way to make things better for people. Um, but it's not possible, and I don't know if it ever will be possible, because there's too much politics, there's too much money, there's too much power in this area, and too much bullshit. Too much bullshit is probably the one that bothers me most. I'm the type of person that when I ask you a question, or I say, hey, what's the capital of, What's the capital of New York? If you don't give me an answer, that's Albany. I'll say, I don't know what you're talking about. If you give me, well, what do you mean? Or you mean like New York itself, the city, the state, blah, 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 whatever bullshit you want to cook up. I'm like, no, I want to know the capital. When I don't get that type of answer, especially in an industry as, as an industry as that has so many layers like this, when it really angers me, man, because this is what we should be doing for people to help them out instead of kind of leading them down the road and not giving them all the information. When we don't give them all the information, what we do is we're lying to them, number one. At the same time, I think sometimes a lot of people are trying to just get thumbs ups, a heart, some love, and just trying to get a lot more attention for their own channel, for their own being, and they're not doing their due diligence, or they're trying to get their buck up. You can do all those things and still be objective. That's just the way I look at it. It's pragmatic. It's common sense, if you want to call it that. But when you think about it, this whole medical field, could be fixed tomorrow. In a perfect world, as the saying goes, everything could be fixed. But obviously, we don't live in a perfect world because humans are imperfect, and a lot of humans suck for that matter. And because of the money and the politics and the power that go back and forth in the medical field, in with health insurance, with drug companies, we know that for the most part, the silly man-made system that we're living within will never be changed, and it needs to be, because there are people who can't afford insurance. There are people with insurance that doesn't cover everything. There are people that that need the right medical attention and don't receive it, and there's always some type of disconnect between the doctor, the insurance company, and the person themselves, and it's absolute bullshit. It's absolute bullshit, man. And I don't get into politics. I don't do that. I keep everything that I believe in to myself. But I will tell you this on a singular level. I think that the medical industry needs to be improved big time. The first goal is to take care of people and to help them. The first goal should be to get to the root cause and care for it. The first goal should not be to just throw medicine at the problem, because that doesn't always work. We have to get to what is causing it and try to mitigate or eliminate. And I think that we see that in many different forms in the medical industry, whether it's um, psychiatry, whether it's injury, whether it's different organs, cancer. I I think that, put it this way, there's not enough of that due diligence being done, and I don't point the doctors out, because there are so many good doctors. We all know that really believe in that, but I think that the system they're trapped within is what's really affecting them, and I think it's kind of similar to the man-made religious power structure that man has put in place, that has gotten away from the the universal law that God had put for all of us. I'm Catholic, proud of it, and I'm the first one to say that there's a lot of man-made bullshit that doesn't need to be. When um, the end all, most important aspect is Jesus Christ. So what I do is I just think about the source. I think about what Jesus would do. I go back and I read more about what Christ would have done, the type of person he was, and your kind of you use your brain to figure things out, instead of these silly man-made rules that I think we're playing by a lot of the times, that are just there because it's kept power and it's kept people in line for so long. It's nonsense, and I think you can say that goes on in so many different aspects in life. And of course, there has to be rules and regulations. There has to be outlined areas for certain institutions to work. But again, once those things have violated the most important aspect, which are people and helping them and their health, I think it all goes down the drain and out the window. So that is What has really bothered me, I think, this whole situation really kind of sparked it in my mind that we could fix all this problem, very quickly. Um, you watch so many commercials with medicine, and like the good minute or two at the end is spent with all the side effects, and you say to yourself, shit, the medicine's worse than the cure. What I would love to see is more money pumped into um, alternative ways. I'd like to see more money pumped into more holistic ways. I'd like to see more holistic and more naturopath doctors be treated better. Not the ones who are kooks. There are kooks in every walk of life. I'm talking about the ones who have put in the time, have the education, and really believe in it, because there's a lot of good people like that. I would like to see a lot of that more, and not so much of this power structure that we have now of people in power who are going to tell us what to take, what not to take. Meanwhile, they don't know us, and they don't know our bodies. We know our bodies. Our internists or the doctors that we trust that are really good know us. And I think then it should be up to the patient. After a lot of conversation has gone on. But I think it's imperative that people act as their own physician, meaning you get your blood tested regularly, you get the correct amount of things tested in that blood test, not just the generic bullshit which you usually get when you go to the doctor. No, it should be everything that's important in that blood test. That way you can see what's going on the inside. And of course, I think insurance should cover all this. I think it should. I think it should. People shouldn't have to cringe to try and afford these things. This is what needs to happen. People shouldn't have to cringe to afford a surgery if they need it, or some type of procedure if they need it. They shouldn't have to, put their house up for sale or mortgage their life away for these things. No, no, that's not right. That's not the first rule of everything. And again, I think that there's this like kind of like almost like high school mentality, I think, when it comes to it, between certain doctors, insurance companies, and big pharma, and it's just what I mean by that is it's very immature, so you get um like something that's a hot topic like Ozempic right now, and you don't even have to be a doctor to dispense that. You can buy that at fucking hair salons if you want. Shit, I know nutritionists who do it and who don't even have the correct, may not be even taking, I don't know them personally, but I've heard stories that don't even really want to take blood from the patient or ask the patient's background. They'll just hand that shit out, up the price, and collect the money. That's no more than like, like something you do with tickets. You buy tickets at a certain price and then you resell them for more. I mean, I know it's not almost the same thing, but in a sense, in a dollar sense, it really is. And that's become the problem. Okay, that's become the problem. And again, is it the system or is it the people involved? It's a little bit of both, because the people involved, I think, know how to skirt the system put in there. And because the system allows for all these things, it allows these people to operate a certain way and then legally get away with it. Or they find illegal ways to do it. And at the end of the day, there's always that person out there, God forbid, that's a victim. So what do? I don't know. That's the problem. I see so many influencers and so many doctors do this online. It's so fucking infuriating. It's so sickening. I've just about had it, because I think it's common sense that every doctor should be telling you the good and bad of everything before you do it. Like I think you should lay out the options for people just to cover your own ass, just to be pragmatic, just to be empathetic about it, and then allow them to do things. Look, I've worked with people who've taken steroids. I've worked with people who've, like I said, are on these type of drugs. What I say is, I'm not here to tell you what to do and what not to do. If you ask me about them, I'll tell you the good and the bad and the whatever. Other than that, I am not going to tell you what to do, because that is not my job. I don't do that. I am not Jesus Christ. That job has been taken, and taken well, for that matter. I cannot do that. I can only tell you what I could give you some information to read. I could give you some opinions to read. I could try my best to point you in the right direction. I can do a deep dive and research everything, but I can't make the choice for you. That's not going to happen. And it's funny because when I think of this going on, I sort of wonder sometimes, are we moving in the direction where eventually we're going to make everything legal and let people choose if they're of sound mind and body, meaning if they're over a certain age and they check out mentally, let them decide. And I wonder, is that the best way to do things? So, for instance, imagine in the future, you're 21 years of age, and I am totally spitballing this one out of my ass, but I'm just trying to come up with an example. And there's, I don't know, some new drug that can make you sprout wings, have horse hooves, make you jump really high, make you fly, but there's side effects to it. It may cause, I don't know, it may cause you to have four testicles or some shit like that. Imagine if you don't tell people the side effects to that. But imagine if you lay everything out for them and then you say the choice is yours. Or you say, I'll tell you what, here's the good, here's the bad, go speak to your doctor. Who's your internist? I think that more has to be done for the health of people while we give people the choice to do what they want, because I'm all for freedom 100%. But I think the problem is that under that umbrella of freedom, there's a lot of people who like to manipulate, like anything else in life, and take advantage of that and use it for the bad. And what we have now in the medical field, I think we have the Wild West, and we've had the Wild West for many years now. There's no. I feel like when I'm dealing sometimes, like when I read all these things or look into these things, I feel like a lot of the time, what I'm dealing with is I'm going into a bar or saloon in the old west, and like there's a fight going on, and bullets are flying, bottles are being broken, whatever, and I'm just like, yeah, can I get a tequila? That's the way I feel about it. You're kind of just watching it happen. And on Instagram especially, you're seeing so many different opinions go back and forth. You're seeing so much information be passed around. You're seeing so many people spout their opinions, and then sometimes they'll cite some studies and stuff like that. But I feel that it's never it obviously it's never it's never in one place that you can kind of say, okay, there's the target. There it is. It's all over the place, and it makes you just kind of wonder, what the hell is going on? There's a doctor on Instagram who I follow. I think her name is Dr. Tina, Tyna. And I find her very interesting because she talks about various things. She's muscle and metabolism and medicine. She has a podcast too. I haven't listened to it in full length. I've heard excerpts from it, but I do like a lot of her posts because they talk about different things for ladies, and for men as well. Ozempic, overall metabolic health improvements, double-edged sword of carb counting and type 1 diabetes, GLP-1 side effects versus die-off reactions. Now, GLP-1 is what Ozempic is. That's the type of drug it is. So she's talking about the side effects there. So she's wonderful, Dr. Tina, Tyna. And I like that she's very objective and looks into everything. And I've recently seen that her account had been disabled. I know this isn't the first time, and you kind of wonder why. I mean, she's got about 60,000 followers. That's another thing we're dealing with. We're dealing with people who want to, for some reason, shape, or form, is to silence you, to silence some, and not let others get the message out. Here's what I say. I would like to believe that it's done in good faith at times, but at times it's not. When it's done in good faith at times, it's too because you're afraid that the information somebody may be giving out could be dangerous because people can go and try that and maybe get hurt. Okay, I understand that. But I think if the person is of sound mind and body and has the education, has the background, and is presenting this to people, at the end of the day, it's going to be someone's decision no matter what. I think that we live in a time and place where if people want to do something, want to find a way to get something, want it really bad, they're going to get it. It's like cigarettes. You could make that price go sky high. As long as the person's of sound mind and body, they're going to find a way to smoke if they really want to smoke. They know what's good. They know what's bad about it for them. It says it right on the fucking package. So what are you going to do? Same thing with alcohol. Same thing with a lot of drugs. I mean, it's almost like prohibition. We can't go back to that. That was nonsense. But like I said, this Wild West mentality in the medical field, in especially in health and wellness, when it comes to peptides, when it comes to HGH, when it comes to TRT. I think when you demonize these things, you're obviously not taking the right stance in this. I think it's important to be in the middle. Look at the good and the bad. Look at the studies. Put more money into these things. Put more money into stem cells. Put more money into PRP. Bring it back to the States where we don't have it so much. Now, people who want to get stem cells have to go to Tijuana. They have to go to Medellin, Colombia, BioAccelerated, which is a really cool company. They have to go to Panama to get this done. We should, for the money, the taxes that we pay in this country, in certain states, we should have access to that stuff. You know, and again, I'm not saying to just let it out altogether. I'm saying pump money into these things. Pump money into the natural path doctors. Pump money into the natural pathways. Let's see what really works and what's not. Because if we keep sticking to the same thing, we're not advancing anywhere. We're not advancing anywhere, man. And we're living at a wonderful time where technology seems to be at its all-time high, and we have a lot of things out there now with cryotherapy and sauna, intermittent fasting. I mean, you got a lot of the peptides that are legal that haven't been attacked just yet. You've got Ozempic, Wegovy for those people with who are type 2 diabetes, and definitely need it, or at least need to start with it to help knock down the A1C and stuff like that. um the cryo chambers. We have all these things, man, which is great, but we need to pour more money into this. We need to get away from this hackneyed system that isn't working anymore. It's broken, man. It's broken. We need more money put into health and wellness, and stop dividing people so much, because I think that we have too much tribalism going on, which I think is going to happen either way, between, whether it's big pharma, whether it's doctors, whether it's drug companies, and even in areas such like diet, whether it's vegans, or just, people who eat the Mediterranean diet, carnivores, keto. Look, I think that there's good and bad to take from each and every one. I think people should have the right to do what they think works best for their body. I really do. But I also think that they should have access to everything that they need to make those choices. And in fact, I guess that a lot of people in the medical field, or a lot of the big companies, or some of the companies, I should say, who look at people only as a dollar sign, you know, morally, I don't agree with that at all. I would think that if you do things the correct way, people will want to come back to you over and over, because at least you laid out the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's like when you go to buy a car. When you go to buy a car, you want to deal with someone who you're going to go back. You don't, has the saying go, you don't just sell one car. You sell 5 cars to the same person over a bunch of years. That's called good business. That means that the person who's selling your car knows the industry, knows what you want, knows his customers, and not trying to rip you off, is going to try and make a profit, but is not trying to kill you, because what's in it for them at the end of the day? Like, if God forbid something bad happens to somebody, you could always look at it one way. Well, they won't be coming back anymore, or they're going to be out there and say that you did A, B, and C that was no good, and they're going to ruin your name. So it only works if you try and just be as objective down the line as you can. And I don't see a lot of this happening in this field. I think that there's too much money to be made on certain sides in which you choose to play for. And me personally, I am not a joiner, man. I do my thing, and I don't want to be motherfucking bothered, okay? I'm a lone motherfucking wolf. That's how I do things. My circle is crazy small. My pack is crazy small. Those within my pack or my circle are the ones I can trust the most, and that's it. I ain't looking to be around nobody else unless I can trust you, and vice versa. It's a two-way street. And we don't have enough of that. We've got too many people changing opinions. We have too many people sticking to one side. We have too much. It's become like a dogma. It's become, like I said, very tribal. It doesn't have to be that way, man, whatsoever. And I don't know why it's so rigid, but that's the way it seems to be. I remember it was happening it still happens at times. You get the certain, and again, it's not the exercises per se or the groups, it's the people involved. You get, the hit people who believe in only hit type of exercise. You get the people who only believe in yoga. You get the people who only believe in Pilates, the ones who only believe in weights. It doesn't have to be that way. Obviously some things are good in, over and over, and some things aren't. You can do a little bit of everything and still feel good about yourself without getting injured. There doesn't need to be this, constant back and forth. What should be going on as a whole is all these parties should be talking together to help lengthen and give people the gift of longevity, which I believe that we're fundamentally have inside of us, that God gave us to live a lot longer than we're supposed to, or that we do. Because when you think about it, what we got going on right now in this country is an obesity crisis, and a lot of people are dropping dead at an early age or getting sick at an early age. And a lot of science is out there now talking about and it just makes sense. The more you move, the better you'll be. 8,000 steps a day. If you can do more, do more. Lift heavy stuff. It makes sense. Lift heavy stuff and put heavy stuff down. Do a lot of resistance exercises. Great for the joints. Great for making bones stronger, especially if you age and, not making them so porous and weak. That makes sense. Help strengthen those muscles that are all over your body, because you're going to need that through life. You don't get anywhere sitting on your ass, sitting down, eating shit. That's just common fucking sense, man. And that needs to be put out there a lot more. The problem is that also too, living in a free country comes with some negatives because of the gift of freedom. When it comes to marketing, when you watch a lot of these commercials that market food, they're not telling you all the bad things about it. And this I know personally, because I've eaten a lot of that shit when I was a kid, whether it was cereal, fast food, what have you. You're never going to see that shit in the commercials. What you will see now is if you go into a fast food place, they'll tell you the calories, they'll tell you all the the nutrient lists of things, and then from still there, I think it's still up to you to make a decision. I think that's where the freedom comes in, really important. But again, we have a lot against us as people. We have a lot going on against us that isn't there to help us. From the things that we see, the drugs that we see, those silly, stupid commercials, like I said, where the last 2 minutes is the person just make us blah, 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 like that, and a lot of people don't pay attention to that. They just want to try it and whatever. So again, I think that there needs to be a lot more of a two-way street with things when it comes to these, and we need to hold people accountable per their title. As if a doctor is online giving out medical advice about a certain drug, I feel by law I don't give a fuck if they make if the video isn't intended for this, then no, they have to tell you the good and the bad. That should be a law. That should be a law. If they give their opinion on a drug, whether they're pro or negative, they should tell you everything and anything about it. And then at the end of the day, leave it up to you to make your decision, or do your due diligence and go and do some research about that. Go ask, have some talk to others who are on it. Talk to doctors who are on it. Get as much information on it as you can, and then go from there. But I think what we like to do, or these people like to do, is get a lot of people on their side and just feel powerful. And somewhere in the middle is the answer. But then there are good people like, Dr. Andrew Huberman, Dr. Rhonda Patrick, who I really enjoy following, because I feel that they're not trying to sell you something per se. They're having conversation with people on all sides about many different aspects in the wellness and exercise and anti-aging areas. And it's a casual conversation where I think at the end of the day, you're hearing a lot about the studies, you're hearing a lot about drugs, and then you make your decision if these are the things you want to go and do. Now, look, when it comes to pricing with these things, here's, like I was mentioning before, I think obviously we'd all like these things to be a lot lower, especially these experimental drugs or these, anti-aging things, or like IV drips and all that stuff. But here's the thing: a lot of those things are not looked at by with positivity by the FDA, like supplements, or they're not given the thumbs up. It would be wonderful if we lived in a place where, like I said, I don't want to say everything would be a set price or whatever like that, but I think that if we had a lot more research done to these things that have been deemed bad for us, or have been deemed negative, or have been deemed whatever you want to call it, you should be funding these things to find out. That's the best way to help people. Like the only thing I can think of with Ozempic is that obviously there needs to be, you know, over time we'll see the good and bad side effects. But if we were pounding money into that many years ago, maybe, and we knew everything about it, and then you could present it to people and then leave it up to them. But a lot of the time that doesn't happen because they're looking to make a quick buck off of something that sparked interest, like that drug on on Instagram, and from there, it just becomes it's what people want, and they just want to make money off of it. But again, that's not always the right way to. That's not the way I would do things. So the main goal is that people are going to let you down no matter what, especially in this field, man. Especially in this field where everyone's promising you a quick fix, where everyone promises you a new supplement, a new drug, a new exercise that's going to fix your this, do that. Exercise goes right along with um, exterior beauty and products and stuff for your skin. I think they go hand in hand. So you've really got to be willing to do your due diligence. A, to take care of yourself as best you can. B, to do research and to research others and to talk to others about these newest procedures, these newest exercises, these newest anti-aging things. You have to be willing to do all that before you go and do it. I'm not saying never to try these things. I'm always, I like to get a lot of these things. I like to give a shot to, whether it's cold plunge or sauna or stuff like that. Maybe those things aren't as dangerous as other things, but I think it's imperative that you at least get all the information you need and then give it a shot if you think it's going to work for you or something you're willing to try. Yeah, it's not going to make you sick or hurt you, of course, long term or short term. But again, I think that where we're living is this weird place where you've got all this stuff outside that's not being accepted not being accepted by the FDA, not being tested the way it should be, and doesn't have enough money put into it to see the positives and the negatives. Because I do believe that a lot of these things could potentially help people, you know. And I think the FDA is a great organization. I think that they're there for a reason. It has to be there, obviously, for regulations and whatnot to keep people safe. But again, I would like to see a little bit more flexibility when it comes to naturopath, when it comes to homeopathic medicine and drugs and doctors. I like to see them treated a lot better, because I think that they have a lot to offer. I think there are a lot of people who believe in them. I know people personally who have gone to them and they've helped change their lives. I think that there's room for all of that stuff under this big umbrella of health, wellness, and healing, and helping people to stay healthy and have longevity and have a very lengthy life, which I believe as human beings we were meant to have a lot more than we see. Although there are people living well into their hundreds, I think that we were supposed to be like this and live a lot longer. That's just my 10 cents. But we hopefully that's the hope for the future. We need to have. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of work to be done in the field, in the area of food, in the area of processed food. Time Life just had this article put out there recently, something saying to the effect, imagine if processed foods weren't as bad as you think. I mean, that's a pretty silly thing to do when all you got to do is turn around a box of something processed and just look at the ingredients. You go look some of those ingredients, you'll wonder what is going on here. In fact, if you go and turn over a jar of Skippy or peanut butter. I'm not so sure about a jar of Jif, but on the back of a jar of Skippy peanut butter, I remember there being something called cottonseed oil. When I went and Googled cottonseed oil, I saw that cottonseed oil is sometimes used to grease or, basically grease machinery. And that doesn't make any sense to me. What does that have to do with peanut butter? That's really strange. And that's one small minuscule example amongst the many others that are out there, that all you need to do is just turn over the box of food, the bag of food, the plastic, the whatever, look at the ingredients. We have so much work to do in this country, in this world, in this area, that I don't think it's a reach the mountain type of thing. I think it's a keep climbing type of thing. And that's fine. That's fine, because there's a lot against us. Maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. Hell, I don't know about anybody else, but I like carrying heavy shit up the mountain anyway, so let's go. But again, there has to be less. I want to see more transparency from a lot of different entities within this field, from doctors, from drug companies and whatnot. I think it's imperative that we do that, because only then can we really start to get away from this hackneyed kind of caveman-like system, and get people aware of all the different things that are out there that they can possibly try and do without harming themselves or others. That's just my 10 cents. I appreciate you guys listening to the podcast, Taking Care of Fitness. My name is Anthony Bisiello. I'm an NASM certified personal trainer. I hold various NASM certifications in personal training. I am humbled, blessed, and thankful to work with people of all ages, colors, and creeds. And of course, that includes very special place in my heart, the people with special needs. That's another area I believe that we need to have a lot more research in, and we have a lot more love, respect, and patience for. And is the importance of physical fitness, health, and wellness for those with special needs, because again, there is a lot of good science out there showing how much it improves their overall life. And I can say the same for everybody else. We know for a fact how cleansing exercise is for us. So, again, what I say is a lot more time and money spent in the right areas helping others, and a lot less bullshit, because bullshit is bullshit. It ain't changing. It stinks. And if it gets on your shoes, you fucked. So why bother? All right. Peace. Be well. God bless.